What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Monday. Y'all get this on Tuesday, but happy Monday. Welcome back. Welcome back, man. Shout out to the Lady Gamecocks. Shout out to the Lady South Carolina Gamecocks for a tremendous run. They lost yesterday to UConn, but hey, there's a lot of young players on that team. A lot. And I started watching maybe their last 4 games, I think. The first game I was at a restaurant just watching the TV, and they were whooping up on, I forget who they were playing, but yesterday they played UConn, they got beat. It's all good, man. They made it that far. They made it to the championship again. Anyways, we're going to pick it up where we left off on Friday, right here in the green. Let's go and put some music on. Put on the Bajillion track by my oldest son, Ashaki. And we're going to get right into it. Let me turn it down a little bit. A little bit loud. Oh, yeah. When I hear this music, it's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. Again, we're going to try to make some ground this week. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. Some thought it was the medicine that had caused her mental decline. What once gave her enough. Y'all know I gotta get my, I gotta wake up. First of all, it's just now 7:01 in the morning. I've been up for about an hour, but I only got 1 cup of coffee in my system, so y'all know I gotta wake up, right? Some thought it was the medicine that had caused her mental decline. What once gave her enough vigor to perform now made her lethargic, too sleepy and worn out to function during the day. One prescription had to be countered by another, and the new prescription, I'm having trouble saying prescription this morning, y'all. Excuse me. Let me wake up here. I'm a little bit warm too. Let's see what I can do about that. Let me see if I can turn this AC down a little. Turn it down. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta turn this AC. See what this temperature is up in here. It's 75. Let me turn it down to 74. Yeah. There we go. Some thought it was the medicine that had caused her mental decline. What once gave her enough vigor to perform now made her lethargic, too sleepy. It's turned up too loud, turned up too loud, turned up a little bit too loud, turned up too loud. All right. Some thought it was the medicine that had caused her mental decline. What once gave her enough vigor to perform now made her lethargic, too sleepy and worn out to function during the day. One prescription, I'm saying prescription. I gotta enunciate that P, that other P. One prescription had to be countered by another, and the new prescription had to be countered by some other experimental pill or shot. Suge would oftentimes awaken at night to find his mother wandering aimlessly throughout the house. He and his daughter Penny. Okay, is it gonna stay Penny? I told you guys the last time I sat down here to write. My wife and I was watching a special on Netflix. And please, if you hear that sound now, that's the AC just kicked on. About autistic people being on the spectrum. Autistic people on the spectrum finding love. It's like a dating show for autistic people. And one of the young ladies that, if you ask me, to star of the show, her name was I don't forgot her name already. Oh goodness gracious. What was her name? I guess it's not meant to be. I was gonna try to borrow some of her characteristics and whatnot, but hey, if it comes back to me, I'll say it. I'll mention it. But anyways, she was a real sweetheart, a real nice girl, and I wanted to borrow some of her characteristics, like I said. But anyways, Penny may stay the way it is. I don't want to start doing too much, and it'll pop in my head. What was her name? Anyways, he and his daughter Penny were constantly going back and forth trying to keep up with the latest cure for what was thought to be severe depression. Why would she be depressed? That was a question I wrote last time. Why would she be depressed? You know. Though maybe she's depressed because her grandson, Frederick Sr., is a screw up. Maybe he stole from her. Maybe he did something stupid, and I don't know. Though he was there at the party having a moderately good time. Okay, let's start it over. Some thought it was the medicine that caused It's Monday, y'all. If you can't tell. Let's take a short break. I'll be back in a second. So we're gonna take a short break. See if I can wake up a little bit more. Stall a little bit, y'all. Sometimes you gotta stall. Let me turn this up a little bit. This is a young lady. I found her video this morning, and the thumbnail caught my attention.
When it first started, I was like, oh, okay, it's not gonna be so bad. Yeah. Let me show y'all. Look at it. I've seen. Yeah, as I'm filming, the whole back will just collapse. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
The little African boy said, y'all might want to go inside. Okay, so I'm not talking down or bad about this young lady and her Americanized thinking, but it's a lot of us who want to go back to Africa. Me being one of them. I at least want to have a house in Africa or Jamaica or both. You know, I've been to Jamaica twice and I love Jamaica, but at the same time I realize I've seen the actual people. I lived the last time my wife and I went there, we lived amongst the people. We wasn't on a resort. The first time it was Sandals Resort. The second time we Airbnb a house and we was out there in Ocho Rios. And I'm not a fool. I know that there's a lot of poverty in Jamaica, a lot of poverty in Africa, a lot of poverty in a lot of places where the majority of people are black. This young lady, I was just surfing the internet, like I said, trying to wake up this morning, and I saw her thumbnail, and I was like, flooding in Ghana. This is what you get for your U.S. dollars. And if you watch this video, and her page is Just Vlog, there on the bottom left, Just Vlog. You hear a lot of different horror stories about moving back to Africa or moving to Africa or living in Africa, because the Africa infrastructure is not the same as the U.S. The poorest people in the United States, the poorest black people in the United States, could live normal lives in Africa with the money that they're making. I don't care if it's panhandling, making $100 a month. You can live in Africa. If you're making $100,000, you know what I'm saying, you could probably live like a king, queen. But at the same time, you still gotta realize the infrastructure is completely different in these places. People don't have the same motivation to work. You know what I mean? I guess motivation might not be the right word. They don't have the same punctuality, and they don't have the same standards. I was looking at other videos about this situation, the flooding, and I don't know what it turned into. I may watch some more later. But the landlords with an S, It's like, okay, yeah, we'll get somebody out there, you know. This whole, let me play a little bit more of this.
Back up, y'all. Back up.
Yeah, you really need to back up, man. Unless you want to end up on the ground there.
Oh my God. What is this made of? Paper? Wow.
Then this thing is going to, then the poly tank is going to break through.
Oh my God.
And see, the thing is,
I pray that holds up.
Get up from there, get up from there, get up from there.
Watch out.
Tell him.
Oh my God. He was saying, the little boy was saying, y'all gonna, if y'all don't make a hole, it's gonna mess it up. He was so right.
this little boy told them beforehand, I guess, you know, if you don't make a hole for the rain, it's going to break through. I guess he knows, being all of 12 years old, you know. I guess they didn't listen to him, but certainly thinking that they probably wish they did now.
Kids be having so much wisdom.
That is the hole. That is the hole there.
But even a little kid came in and was like, and you have to make holes plenty, so because the water back here is gonna gather. He was right. Even how a little boy know how to build. How even a boy has sense enough to know that and build this kid. Like what? Come inside. Wow. I can't believe this right now.
I think it's mud.
What?
It's probably made of mud, but it's probably also good that it broke, because had it not broke, this all would be filled with water right now. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Y'all hold tight. All right, we're going to bring it back to the top. Some thought it was the medicine that caused her mental decline. That, I got to put had back in that had. And it's that extra syllable, you know what I mean? Some thought it was the medicine that had caused her mental decline. What once gave her enough vigor to perform now made her lethargic, too sleepy and worn out to function during the day. One prescription had to be countered by another, and the new prescription had to be countered by some other experimental pill or shot. Suge would oftentimes awaken at night to find his mother wandering aimlessly throughout the house. He and his daughter Penny were constantly going back and forth trying to keep up with the latest cure for what was thought to be severe depression. Though he was there at the party having a moderately good time, his thoughts were on the lady he most adored, and now a troubled son who'd come back in town for the worst of reasons. And perhaps the cause of his mother's ills. Though he was there at the party having a moderately good time, his thoughts were on the lady he most adored, and now a troubled son who'd come back to town for the worst of reasons. There was also the notion that his son may have contributed to his mother's ills. Though he was there at the party having a moderately good time, his thoughts were on the lady he most adored, and now a troubled son who'd come back in town for the worst of reasons. There was also the notion that his son may have been the cause of his mother's ills. There was also the notion that his son may have been the cause of his mother's ills. There was also his daughter-in-law. See how you change one thing now? See, okay, so I got there. There was also the notion that his son may have been the cause of his mother's ills. It was also his daughter-in-law, a woman who never saw her life turning out the way it did. There was also, and I did that. Okay. Though he was there again. See, there again. See all these, you got there here, there here, there here. Okay. Though he was there, though he was at the party, having a moderately, every time I go across moderately, I for some reason, though he was at the party, no, we're not going to say moderately, that sounds too technical. Though he was at the party having a good time, his thoughts were on the lady he most adored, and now a troubled son who'd come back in town for the worst of reasons. There was also the notion that his son may have been the cause of his mother's ills. Okay. I hear voices, while I'm writing, I don't know how to explain it, but, people say, how you write? Well, I don't know. I'm just an instrument. There was also the notion that his son may have been the cause of his mother's ills. His daughter-in-law, a woman who never saw her life turning out the way it did, had definitely fallen victim to his son's narcissism. Okay. Narcissistic ways, how do you spell narcissistic? I'm gonna try. Narcissistic ways. There was also the notion that his son may have been the cause of his mother's ills. His daughter-in-law, a woman who never saw her life turning out the way it did, had definitely fallen victim to his son's narcissistic ways. There we go. Left with 2 children, she could not have predicted the spinning meteor of manipulation that came from a man she still loved. What no one knew that night is that things were about to take a turn for the very worst. No one but the spirit thing. The one now there at the picnic table. See, there's another there. The one now there, the one not now. The one there at the picnic table, invisible to the naked eye, but so present and patiently sitting by Jacob's side. Are you sure? Asked Henry as he took a sip of his wife's lemonade. As he took only a sip. Yeah, this is it. I know my stuff, Hank, Suge replied. Hell, just look around, he added, licking his lips while motioning his mouth to get a better taste. Motioning. What's the right word there? Licking his lips. Licking his lips. Licking his lips to get a better taste, Henry began scanning the room, surveying those at the party. As the taste grew more familiar, what he saw in those few seconds was enough to convince him that the drink in the punch bowl see, that's the wrong word. How do you spell punch bowl? Look at that. Punch bowl is one word, y'all. My God. That's why you gotta have editors. That's why you gotta have good editors, y'all. That's why. Punch bowl is one word. I'm trying to look that up, make sure of it. Let's see. There's convince him that the drink in the punch bowl was for sure. Is for sure one word? I don't think it is. It was for sure mixed with the concoction Suge had made for his son to take back to New Jersey. As the music and lights continued, he saw without a doubt evidence of Suge's claim. While one of the world's most worldly songs played, Juvenile's Back That Thing Up. Juvenile's Back That Thing Up. Mr. and Mrs. Albertson were dancing along, on beat, as though they were in their 20s at their first freaknik. It looked as though they'd heard a dance. It looked as though they'd heard and danced to the song hundreds of times in private, having her husband pinned in the corner. Mrs. Albertson was following Juvie's instructions to a T. She was backing that thing up until she couldn't back it up any further. Aside to those two having the time of their lives, Suge and Henry were having trouble concentrating on the conversation, trying to figure out how the substance was added to the bowl. Suddenly, Lupe walked over to the two men. "Hey, guys," he said with an uncanny smile. "Is this?" The man pointed to his cup. "Yeah, we think so," Henry confirmed. "Great idea," he said, before pulling Maria on the dance floor. Together, the two danced their way next to the Albertsons and seemed to challenge the religious couple to a Back That Thing Up contest. Before long, someone turned the music up louder and the party took off like an MX missile. I'm leaving that. That's my tribute to Craig Mack. Rest in peace. "What are we gonna do, Hank?" I mean, this is strong stuff. What if, the man paused, while Suge stood there, contemplating whatever he was thinking about. Henry watched. What? Henry asked. The man's mind had gone back to his birthday wish and the alligator at the pond. It had been the most bizarre thing he'd ever witnessed. I gotta put emphasis on that. I gotta maybe have him a flashback or something. I just want to say I appreciate you for being here. Whoever's here, I appreciate you, because reading on this over the story right now, I'm like, there's a lot that's missing. Oh God! I remember when I used to come to this very office that I'm sitting in right now. It wasn't an office at the time. We didn't know what it was going to be. It was just a bonus room. It's a frog over the garage. And I remember it was bare. There was no walls up, just 2x4s, just a frame. The whole house, basically. Outside, it looked, like a house. It had the outside walls and the windows and everything was in. But inside, still, there was a lot of framing, a lot of drywall that needed to be hung. And I remember just sitting in this room in particular and just thanking God and finally got a nice home. And right now, if you guys have made it this far, this is what this story is right now. It's not even that far along, because it's not even, the outside walls not even put up. You're still looking at the foundations being poured, the plumbing is being put in, the wires are being hung. It's a lot that still needs to go into the story, a lot. And I'm realizing that maybe people are reading this saying, this is elementary. I assure you, if you read any of my other books, it gets my books are well written. I'll just say that. All right. Before long, someone turned the music up louder and the party took off like an MX missile. What are we going to do, Hank? I mean, this is strong stuff. What if... All right, let's do this. It's going to trail off. The man paused, while Suge stood there contemplating whatever he was thinking about, whatever he was thinking of. Henry watched. What? Asked Henry. The man's mind had gone back to his birthday wish and the alligator. And the alligator at the pond. It had been the most bizarre thing he'd ever witnessed. His wish had been to see the thing again. His wish had been to simply see. His wish had been to simply see the thing again. That day was like, that day was like any other. That day, the time and 87-year-old. Yeah, I can't see one. Decided to track down the trail. Okay. That day, when Suge decided to check on his liquor. I'm gonna change all this, y'all. Don't worry about it. I know it sounds weird now. How do you spell liquor? How do you spell liquor still? Where's the look up feature, man? Goodness gracious. They don't have it anymore? Siri, how do you spell liquor still? How do you spell liquor still? My God. People just texting me at 7:32 in the morning, just random things. Wow. That's my homeboy though. I'm gonna text him back. Liquor still. Liquor still. It hadn't been the best morning for writing, but we're gonna leave it here for now, y'all. We're gonna leave it here for now. I'm gonna make this purple because I know that's not spelled right. Alright. That day when Suge decided to check on his liquor still, I love the word tracking, by the way, if y'all didn't realize. I love it. Tracking down the trail was like any other day. Tracking down, let's just say walking. I love the word tracking, but let's just say walking. Walking down the trail, walking down the old trail was like any other day. Suge had just finished feeding his worms and decided to use a few for bait. Okay, that day when Suge decided to check on his liquor still, before fishing, walking down the old trail was like any other day. Suge had just finished feeding his worms and decided to use a few for bait. Putting 30 or so in a cup, he took a walk to the water hole. I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit. Suge had just finished feeding his worms and decided to use a few for bait. I don't need to put this in. It was a nice September afternoon. The birds were singing, dragonflies and a few bees seemed to have been guiding him down the old path as fishing gear rattled, and the thoughts of his sick mother subsided somewhat. It was a sudden thing, seeing whatever it was that he'd seen. All right, it's been 35 minutes, y'all. We're gonna stop it right here, but we're gonna pick it back up. Should I go back to the green one more time? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go back to the green one more time. I know people are like, man, you keep going over the same thing so many times. But as you can see, it changes so much. Right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 pages right now. It was 4. So now we may get up to 10. I gotta really, it's Monday. It's Monday, 36 minutes in. We're gonna stop it right here. Thank you for stopping by. This is Anthony L. Kelly. Hit that like, subscribe, share, comment. Again, thank you for stopping by. Until next time, I'm out.